And welcome back. Our first guest is an advocate for people of special needs and joins us for a look at the upcoming elections and access to voting for people of special needs. Welcome, Lawrence Seiler. You're no stranger to the show. You've had your own show right here on BronxNet, right?
Yes, Special People, Special Issues, been on the air for 18 years.
Oh, yes.
Took a hiatus, and now we're going to revamp the show.
There you go.
And come back with a vengeance and help people with special needs.
There you go. All right, so tell us a little bit about Lawrence Seiler.
Well, how I see, let's talk about voting and how voting helps people with special needs or not.
Okay.
Before the show, you asked me, do people with special needs vote? And the question is, and the answer is, do they have access?
The voting process.
Yes and no. There are recently new voting machines within the voting polls for people with special needs, whether you're visual impairment or not, that type of thing. But here's the thing. If you're intellectually challenged and do not understand the voting process, in other words, if you don't know who the President of the United States is and what his office does, you're not going to be able to vote. Plus, the majority of people with special needs who are intellectually or mentally challenged might be in a group home setting or with social workers. And if that's the case, they're not going to be able to go out and vote. So it's yes and no. Yes, they have access to voting, but if they're intellectually challenged or something else is wrong with them, they're not going to be able to vote.
Is there someone or an organization in place that will help them along with that?
Not really. You have to do your research to do that, which I've done considerable research. In terms of special needs, the top 5 states in terms of special needs services and medical are Arizona, Vermont, Michigan, New Hampshire, Hawaii. New York is at the bottom of the list. New York is changing. There's been a lot of changes to services for special needs. There has been several organizations that have closed in the Bronx, and may he rest in peace. Greg Bell was a huge advocate in the field of special needs for blind and visual people that are blind and visually impaired.
Greg Bell, good friend.
Greg Bell, good friend of us. Yeah. But, we need to change people's perceptions on how they treat people with special needs.
What do we need to do?
Get more money into the system. New York is not a place anymore in terms of budget. Budget is at a shortfall. The reason why organizations are closing is either lack of budget or lack of staff. If you have lack of manpower and only 2 staff to run your organization is not going to run. Most of these organizations are nonprofit, okay? So if nonprofits are having a problem, or people, for example, in the past, which I'm not mentioning, there have been organizations that have stole money from organizations and Medicaid fraud, then the organization is going to fall down.
Yeah. Are any of the candidates doing enough for people with special needs?
There is
Whether
never.
it be on the local level or presidential?
No. There is never enough for a person with special need. There's a great man who had passed away. His name is Matthew Saplin from the Mayor's Office for People with Special Needs. He was a commissioner, and now it's Victor Calise in New York City. But there is never enough for people with special needs. The reason why is that is because people with special needs don't vote. If we're not of the voting per se or voting scale.
But if we have more services in place, you would have
need
better
to vote.
access to the voting booth.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Are you ready? Are you prepared to vote?
Yeah, and I'm going to vote for the right candidate. One of the things I am going to mention in a good way, well, not so good way, Donald Trump. He is not going to get away with mocking people with special needs. Recently, in the newspapers and in TV, he mocked a special needs correspondent who was a reporter, and he's not going to get away with that. Not in the least, and not in one bit. He's mocked, Mexicans. He's mocked people with special needs. He's mocked other cultures. He's not going to get away with that because America won't let him.
If you were able to talk to him, what would you say to him?
I would say, Donald Trump, you're not going to get away with it. What we need is another president like Roosevelt. If we had another New Deal, if you remember Roosevelt when he created the March of Dimes and other organizations, we need another person like that who cares for people with special needs. Yes, you have the ADA and you have other organizations and other things, but you don't have enough. We need more help. Why do we have to? Sometimes we might have to go to another state to get a service, but then come back to New York for other stuff. But change things in New York first, then go to another state to get services.
All right, so you are prepared to vote.
Yes.
You are registered.
Yes, I am.
And what would you tell people with special needs about the importance of voting?
There are things like your vote counts. If you don't vote, you don't get services. You don't have a voice. People with special needs need a voice, like the revamped version of Special People, Special Issues. We need a voice out there to tell us what services to go to if we need help.
All right. Lawrence Seiler, give him a big round of applause, everybody. Special needs correspondent. Looking forward to seeing you on TV. When does it start? You got the date for it?
Not yet, but we're working on that. We're working on that.
All right, thank you so much.
Very soon.
To talk to you.
ASAP.
Exercise your right to vote. All right. Step up to the plate, hit some home runs. We've got to take a quick break right here, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Open next.